Well, this is awesome being able to sit down with you. We've sat in your office before. We've stolen cigars out of your office before. But to sit down and kind of share a little bit about you guys with some friends and whoever's watching. So thank you for having me in the factory for this. This is great.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing it.
So I guess for someone, before we talk about a lot of other things, before we get started, I guess, in the beginning, let's talk a little bit about the beginning. Because one thing unique to your story, right from the very beginning, you're not a 20th generation cigar maker. You're not like, you know, your great-great-grandfather grew up in the dirt, you know, and grew tobacco plants. This is all new. This is first generation creating cigars.
Yeah. I see it this way, like, I don't know if you believe in miracles. I'm just a walking miracle. Basically what it is, there was no logically for any smart person to think that you're going to be successful coming into an industry with such a great level of, you know, knowledgeable cigar manufacturers and famous. They were my heroes, like, and so thinking that you're going to come and make your own cigars and you're going to compete with these guys, I mean, it didn't make sense at all. I mean, it was just, there's something that we all need to listen to, and that's instinct. We have instinct since we're babies. And usually, if you analyze your life, you're going to find out that your instinct is mostly right. The first thing that comes to you, you know, your natural reaction, which is activated by your subconscious, it's your first natural reaction is your instinct, and usually it is right. And if you don't follow it, you will be missing a lot in life, or making the wrong decisions. And what I did, it was follow my instinct. It wasn't smart. It wasn't smart. I mean, it wasn't a smart decision when you analyze it, but it was my instinct, and I had to follow it.
Okay, so the story of the robbery. I mean, you were doing jewelry.
Yeah.
And this is, you, at that time, no idea doing tobacco.
No idea. You could have told me that wasn't my future, and I would have laughed all day.
What was the moment that you said, hey, I'm going to do this? Forget about the fact that you have no business doing cigars. What made you go, hey, I want to go do that?
It was, I had this, the possibility of starting doing this, like, I had it in my head for over a month until, you know, trying to be smart about it, trying to make a logical decision. And I finally, you know, I had to listen to my inner self. I had this voice that was telling me do it. And at that point I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And I made it even more complicated because I couldn't come to a cigar manufacturer in Dominicana and ask contract manufacturing. I couldn't do that. That was not a possibility, not even a thought. It had to be our own place making our own cigars. And that's when it got really, really complicated.
And this is before you didn't have any fields, you didn't control any
Nothing.
tobacco.
You didn't know anything, dude. It's a lot of people don't understand how illogical all of this was and how.
So everybody had to think you were crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
back then, you know,
you're not even Dominican and you come here and you want to do this.
because back then, dude, there wasn't new brands back then. You know, it's like, today you see a lot of new brands,
Right.
which is a good thing, right? It
Right.
means people want to be a part of the industry.
It
It's
wouldn't be
healthy.
odd for somebody to come in right now and go,
Right.
hey, I'm going to try and start up a cigar
Exactly.
business.
But in those
Back
days,
then,
dude, nobody did it. Nobody did.
That was the first new factory. It was the first new brand in Dominican Republic. You know, and the the cigar makers travel a lot, and you know, they take the same flight that I did. And there I am with my Gianni Versace shirts with all the colors and the Medusa and all the shit. And they look at me and, this guy doesn't look like a cigar maker.
You didn't.
My dad was Miami Vice, dude. He had the mustache, the gold chain.
He didn't fit the mold. So, how did they treat you? I mean,
At first, it wasn't nice.
they thought you would just go away.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because I was at every cigar event. They see me here, and I was at every cigar event. And I was advertising Cigar Aficionado. I was doing it right. And this was not a part-time thing. This was, my life was into this. And so I don't think they thought that I would go away. And so they were worried about me, and there was all kinds of stories about me. I was a mafia guy. There was all kinds of stories. And so they didn't know me, and they were worried about me. And so it wasn't nice. And I understood why, okay? And, I figured, you know what? You just have to prove yourself. You just have to do your work. Eventually, they'll respect you, or they will understand you, or they will get to know you. And it did happen. It did happen even sooner than I thought. And I got a lot of help from them. Okay.
Once they saw you're serious,
Yeah, maybe
help.
a year into this. Okay.
that's still pretty good.
And maybe a little bit less. So it was a beautiful thing. The way they treated me, the way they helped me, the way they advised me. So I have to, I owe them a lot, my colleagues.
Did anyone in particular influence you that you look back and go, this person?
My inspiration was Carlito.
Carlito.
Yeah, he was my inspiration always. And I had the pleasure, the honor of becoming very close with him at the very beginning. He was the first one. One day he called me and invited me to dinner, and we became friends, very close friends. And he opened his factory and his fields. No cigar maker would be allowed there. I would go there with him. I would go to a factory. He would explain to me everything. I was taking everything in, and not the details, but the philosophy, what moves him, what inspired them, what's in their heart. That was what I was trying to understand. And at the same time, I was just falling in love with it. I was just, this was becoming an obsession. I will breathe and think all day that I was awake, and I would be dreaming about tobacco, okay? Which, by the way, is probably the only reason that we're here today, because I just fell in love with it. So I was just trying to capture the emotional part of it, the inspiration that they had, so and then it was funny. One day he came here after this was all set up, and I took him around and say, Litto, you've been at our factory many times. You haven't copied anything from our factory, because I did everything different. Like the benches when you sort the leaves and and stripping. I did it my own way. I look at the way they were doing it, but I did it my own way.
You did your own way.
Because that's the way I thought it was ideal. And he goes, I'm impressed you didn't copy the things that we do. Okay. And I said, I'm not ever gonna copy you or anybody else.
Right.
Your help and your advice and your friendship, it's all I need. But it's not about the details of how we make things. I will always do my own thing. Whatever I'm doing, I'll do it my way. Look at the fucking M&M's in the ashtray.
Yeah, if you can't see this, there's an ashtray. So I was here about several months ago, and they had the ashtrays. Now the ashtrays have M&Ms in them. So you always have something on your desk. You're playing with things. Now you're on an ashtray kick and the acrylic stuff and everything. So let me ask you this. So let me go forward a little bit. You had a lot of great cigars going out. How meaningful was it 2016 Cigar of the Year?
I don't think I have. Let me have the lighter. It's very difficult to explain. Like put it in words. Like what you feel. Never mind what it represents for the company.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But what you feel, it's like if you're a movie star, you win the Oscar.
Right.
And for every person that dedicate their lives to a trade, you could be a movie star, you could be a football player, whatever you do, you dedicate your life to it, okay? And you put everything you got in there. And one day you get this top recognition for what you've been doing. That's a reward. That's a reward, man. There's nothing else that compares to that. Okay, it's an accomplishment, and life is about accomplishments. It's not in material things don't mean shit to anybody. Like people think they do mean shit, but you buy your dream car tomorrow, and you bought it. You start riding it, a week later, it's just a thing that takes you from point A to point B. It doesn't last a lot longer than that. They don't mean much, they don't stay with you. The only thing that fills up your life and stays with you, it's accomplishments. And that somebody recognizes. Because, you can have all the accomplishments in your head, okay? But nobody else sees it. That means you're not accomplishing anything. But like for everybody, you go to work and you do your work, and if your reward is your paycheck, at the end of the week, you're fucked up. You're not happy. Your reward has to be, I did the best that I could, and I love doing this, and I'm going to stay with this. And I did the best I could. I don't like this, I'm going to look for something else. But while I'm doing this, I got to do the best that I could. And that's the only thing that makes you feel good, or makes me feel good.
Do you still feel like you have something to prove? Like you're always moving forward and have to prove it to yourself, not necessarily others, but prove it to yourself?
Yeah, that probably never stopped until the day I die. And Tony knows the story. When I immigrated to Canada, I didn't speak English. I was not even 18 yet. I was close to be 18. And I get a job in a factory that I had to get on a bus, and then on the subway, and then on another bus. And then I had to walk a mile to get to the factory from the bus stop. And, I still have my shoes from Uruguay and my clothes. And in the winter in Canada, that's not easy. So by the time I got to the factory after walking a mile, it'll be an hour before I feel my legs again, okay? And I didn't like what I was doing, okay? It was pretty miserable. And then, a friend of mine got me a job in a restaurant, okay, as a dishwasher, okay. So Now I'm close to my home. I'm 10 minutes from my home. Easy way to get to the place. But I'm in the dishwasher room. I don't know if you've ever seen a dishwasher room
I
in a
have.
restaurant.
I've been a dishwasher.
Okay. It's not a pretty place. And then, you know what? I'm looking at the busboys at the restaurant. You know, they're in the dining room. They have a tie, a shirt. And, you know, that's pretty cool. So I say, how do I get there? Okay.
This is where the clothes thing first started for you.
And then, you know what? The only way I figured out, okay, I gotta be the best busboy in this house, in this place, so I can talk to the manager and ask for a chance to be in the dining room. And that's what I did. And so a few weeks later, I asked for my chance. And the guy said, Litto, but you know, you're the best guy I have in this room. I said, yeah, and there's a reason for it. Okay, I want to show you how good I am. So you give me a chance. He goes, Jesus, okay. So he goes, give me a couple of weeks and I'm going to give you a chance. I said, great. So then, you know, a couple of weeks later, I'm in the dining room. I have a shirt, a tie, and a vest. And, you know, I'm so happy, like, you couldn't believe. And, but then, you know, right, so you're doing the busboy thing, right? So you're cleaning ashtrays and putting water on the table. And, because back then everybody smoked everywhere, cigarettes. So I see the waiters, they were making a lot of money. I was making $3. The waiter would make $120 a day. This is back in...
That's a lot of money then.
Yeah, this is back in 1974.
Okay.
Okay. A waiter would make $120 a day, and they would give the waiters $3 tips a day. Okay, the busboys. And I said, you know, listen, I want to make that money. I want to be a waiter. I was getting $4. My waiter gave me $4 because I was the best in the dining room. So, same philosophy. I studied that waiter, every move, everything that he said to the people, the way he moves through the table, how he takes the plates out, how he puts them in, everything. I read that menu that I knew everything by heart. Okay, I watched every plate, every dish. I knew what was in it. And the same philosophy, I need to be the best busboy in this place so I can ask for a chance. And it was like 3-4 months later. And I remember this was interesting because you meet a lot of people in your life that do things that impress you, okay? So by December, the owner of the restaurant, was a great guy, crazy guy, like crazy. I mean, he was a very temperamental guy. He was a self-made guy.
Probably opened a restaurant when he shouldn't be opening a restaurant.
Most successful place in Toronto. And you know, in December, they would choose the best waiter at the restaurant and the best busboy. Okay, so there I was, and another waiter from the restaurant, and he'll make you sit in the dining room, and he will serve you dinner, the owner. How interesting was that? What a way
That's
to reward.
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never seen anything like that before or after in all my years. It was, I mean, I was freaking out, like, but it was such a great lesson. And so, anyways, you know, I asked for my chance to become a waiter, and the manager kept supporting me, and he gave me that chance. And the day that I became a waiter, at the end of that night, and we were short of waiters, we were short of personnel, the manager came and said, you know, Litto, you became a waiter today, and everybody left your station very happy, so you did great. And he gave me a cigar. Monte Cristo #2. And he explained to me how to light up the cigar and everything. And that night, I remember it was snowing, calm snow, and I walked home, smoking that cigar.
It's a good
What an
moment.
experience, what a moment, yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable, yeah.
Is that the first cigar you remember?
Yep. First cigar I ever smoked, yeah.
It's a good experience.
Yeah, yeah, and a very special day. And I probably smoked that cigar a million times in different days. It will never be the same as that.
Yeah.
It might be the best cigar you
It'll be
ever
the best
had.
cigar you ever had.
Yeah, because it was like an amazing day. It was an accomplished day. Day that I accomplished something.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to have Tony working with you?
A lot of support, a lot of creativity, sometimes too much. But it's the person that I can trust with everything, that I can rely on, that I can consult when I have my doubts or when I'm not sure of something. Somebody that brings me ideas, somebody that helps me with things, with everything, pretty much. So yeah, it's a great thing. And it was very special the day that I understood that he was going to stay in the industry. And I remember I asked him a question. He was being a salesman in Florida. And I asked him, what do you like about your job? He told me that, you know, he loved that he would go to now every city in Florida, and he had friends there. There was people that he was looking forward to see and hang out with. It was nothing else. Like, it was not the money, it was his first job out of school. He was making good money. And it was not the wrong things. He told me about the right things. And I understood that he was going to stay in the industry that day. And I was very happy. Like,
Did you ever try to talk him out of the industry, or did you always want him in but let him do his own thing?
I let him do his own thing. I don't believe in pushing people to do shit.
There was never pressure, man.
Never?
He always told me, do whatever you want to do as long as it makes you happy. But if you do decide to join, I'd love to have you.
It's
So,
open.
but it was never.
So what's the best advice he ever gave you?
Oh man, I could write a book on advice from my father.
Don't get married.
Don't get married.
Don't
If
get
you do,
married.
Wait till you're 40, marry a 25-year-old.
Okay, maybe second best advice.
You know, my father, you know, I wouldn't say specific advice, but it's, you know, I just learned from my father, because my father's not the type of person that tells you what to do or tells you should do this, do that. He's a guy that leads by example, you know, and it's just a matter of watching him, you know. I admire him in so many ways because, you know, going back to what we were saying in the beginning about how all this started and how crazy of an idea it was, you know, you have to realize my father never went to college, you know. I don't think he finished high school. He grew up on a dirt road in Uruguay, which is a country maybe this big that most people have never even heard of. And, you know, by all accounts, he shouldn't be here, you know, but he's got this way of, he sets his mind on something, and it's like, dude, kick down the door, head first, just pure elbow grease. He makes it happen somehow, you know? When he doesn't, you know, I don't think my father can write you a business plan, like a formal business plan or anything like that, but he knows how to conduct business,
Right,
you know?
right.
But he's just got this way of making things happen, sheer will, you know, and just to watch him, still today, he's. I mean, over the years, it's like he speeds up. You know, he's not slowing. People always ask me like, "Oh, you know, is your father getting ready to retire?" He's like, "Dude, not even close." You know, I think he speeds up every year. He's more intense every year, and so just watching him is amazing. I just learned from seeing him and his mentality, and it's. It's a pleasure, man. Honestly, I've learned a lot from him.
You know, I'm not somebody that gives advice. And in my generation, you didn't have a lot of contact with your father. There's a lot of distance between father and son. Your father will never tell you, I love you. You will have to figure it out, if he does or not, okay? It was to you to figure out. That was the old-fashioned way, the old dads. It's not like today, I tell my children I love them, but you know, and I kiss them. And my father wouldn't do that. And if it's a touchy subject, like sex or some shit like that, it'd be disrespectful to talk to your father about sex, okay? So you get no advice. And I'm not a person that gives advice, not because of that, but I think it works a lot better for me with my children to tell them stories about how I fucked up in something, that I did this, and the consequences that I got from it. I think my children listen to that much better because it's a story, something that happened to me, and they're keeping their head instead of, don't do this because you're going to get in trouble this way. You're going to get defensive, most likely. You're going to defend yourself. No, I'm not going to get in trouble because I'm cool. I'm smart as shit. I'm not going to get in trouble. You did, but no. But if I tell you a story of something that I think you're going to do, and without getting into the subject, tell you a story about something that I did and how I screwed up and what happened to me because I did that, it's going to stay with you. It's going to stay with them a lot longer.
Yeah.
I think it's about what you've taught me more than anything is to believe in a vision, right? To have a vision. And if you believe it, if you think it makes sense and you think it's going to succeed, then you got to go for it, right? I think that's one of the main things. But I remember when I first started working as a rep in Florida, you sent me like an email with, it was like a paragraph with little pieces of advice, right? It was, you know, it was, hey, don't get involved in other people's shit, right? You know, this guy's got a problem with this guy, you're Switzerland. You're friends with both of them. Not everybody's your friend. A lot of people smile in your face and then they say other things about you behind your back. There's a lot of general rules that helped me and I always kept them in mind. But after that, it was, I just kind of got released to the wolves. Like, here's your customer list, go, you know, make it happen. And then little by little, you know, the questions start to come up. You have conundrums, you have situations.
Right.
Ask for advice then, but you know, he wants you to learn on your own. He wants you to
So he gave you more of the tools so you could figure it out yourself.
Sure, sure. But there was never, he's not the type that'll hold your hand ever. And
Yeah.
You have to learn, you know. Otherwise, you never really do, right?
So I heard a story that, I don't know if it was your first cigar or not, but you taught him how to smoke a cigar wrong.
Yep.
You told him you gave it to him, he gave it to you the wrong, like told you to inhale it, or what was the story?
Yeah, I have my bad days.
So
this was a story. It's a lesson.
it was a very important lesson in my life. So I was, you know, I won't say exactly what age, but you know, a younger man, and I was on my summer vacation. Like, I came down to the factory. I came down to the yard, spent a couple weeks here, and so we were at my father's desk, and I think it's early in the morning too. He passed me a cigar, right? And it was the prototype of the LG, right? And anybody who smoked the LG knows it's a strong cigar, very intense cigar. And he passed me the cigar. And he said, Tony, today you're gonna learn how to smoke, you know? Okay, fine. So, you know, cut the cigar, start lighting it, start puffing on it. I don't even know what I'm doing, you know? And he goes, no, Tony, listen. If you really want to understand the cigar, if you really want to enjoy it, you have to inhale.
You're mean.
And dude, you know, it seemed, it didn't
Wow.
make sense to me. It seemed wrong. It
Well,
seemed
no, but
wrong.
I mean, who are you to argue at that point? It's not. It's your first cigar.
Exactly. He's a cigar guy. What do I know, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, I inhaled it, and then, dude, I proceed to spend the next 10 minutes like on my knees in front of the toilet, just puking my life away, right? And the whole time I'm throwing up, I can hear him laughing at me because the office is right there. I hear him laughing at me the whole time, you know. And you know, once I'm done, I go back in. I'm like, dude, you're a fucking asshole, man. You know, why would you do that? And he goes, Tony, now you know how not to smoke a cigar.
But you always remembered at that point.
I never forgot that. Never forgot that. Anyway, so I hope to have a son one day, and if I do, I'm going to do this exact same thing.
Oh,
to
absolutely.
him, you know?
Why wouldn't you? You know, unbeknownst to you, and I've never told you this, so half of the idea of this show actually came from you. So we were talking almost 2 years ago, and we were talking via Zoom. And this was when, you know, the pandemic had hit, we're all in lockdown. And I asked you a question, because we were actually just filling time for something. And I didn't even think, we were just talking just for the heck of it. And I asked you, what were you doing during the lockdown? You know, some people learn Spanish, you obviously knew that. Some people learn to play guitar. And you told me you were learning Photoshop. And that to me was a moment that kind of inspired the show a little bit, because this is the kind of thing nobody knows about, because it seems like nothing, but it was a big deal to you. So number one, you're obviously good at Photoshop, and I want, you know, you did it because you wanted to stop asking somebody to interpret what's in your head and do it yourself. And please tell me you've learned something since then.
A ton, man.
Oh, he's done great. He's done amazing shit with it.
Yeah, dude, it's giving me freedom, man. You know,
Right.
because what's always been important to me in my life is to do something creative.
Right.
You know, I've always, you know, I started playing music when I was very young. You know, I actually majored in writing. You know, I like doing creative shit, man. That's what moves me at the end of the day. So, you know, when I moved to the factory and started working here, the first thing I tried to get involved in was packaging and you know, designing and, you know, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But I didn't know how to do any of it. So we got a designer who was very good.
Yeah,
but,
he
you know,
designed boxes that, you know, that cost more than the cigars.
I never took price into account with anything.
That's not, he wasn't on the business side yet, he's just on the creative.
Simplicity.
I'm not a business guy. I'm an English major, man. But so it's giving me freedom, man, because you work with designers and artists and stuff, and
Right.
you know, even they might be great, but they tend to be unreliable.
They can't see what's
people,
in your
you
head.
know? Yeah, sometimes it's hard to explain it. Sometimes they're just unreliable people. You know, they say they're showing up on Tuesday, they don't show up till Friday, and you want to make these things, you know. So it just gave me freedom. Now, like any idea pops in my head, I can do it, right? You know, I don't have to depend on anybody for that. So it's one of the best decisions I ever made. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna study Photoshop too. Yeah.
You gonna study Photoshop?
Yeah, because he does his shit, but when I ask him for something, I had to wait for a month.
If you're both doing all this creative shit, who the hell's gonna like work on cigars?
That's a good question. We haven't figured that out yet.
So, Litto, anybody that knows you are a very passionate person. Now, I know a lot of people in the cigar industry and sit down with them, and you know, we'll be in a bar, we'll be in a restaurant, and they're passionate, but you get really passionate about certain subjects. Tell me a time that got you in trouble. You just knew that like, oh, I've gone too far.
When I wanted to start farming tobacco.
Farming tobacco.
Yeah. So, and by the way, you know, in all fairness, before I get into that, because, you know, I partnered with my friend Hochi Blanco, you know Hochi?
See, of course.
And the original part of the farm, we bought it together. So, but what I want to mention is, if it wasn't for Hochi, I wouldn't be sitting here today. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
The way he helped me,
Yeah.
before anybody else, he gave me, because I didn't have money either. So he gave me tobacco and said, you know, you pay me when you can. Like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. That's simple. And I just didn't want to leave that part out. It's important to me. So, anyways, so Jorge and I went around and, looking for land in the place where I like the tobacco most in this valley, which is La Canela. So we're looking for a piece of land, so we found it, and we were very happy about it, and it was, a great farm, and so we decided to buy it, and we bought it. The problem is that I never told my wife about it. I mean, I was so excited, and I said, I'm gonna do this. Like, yes, I'm gonna do it. Okay, there's no way that I'm not gonna farm tobacco, and there were very powerful reasons behind it, so we purchased. We give a check, and but I didn't tell my wife. And my wife, we started this shit together, like from nothing.
Yeah.
She was doing her work, I was doing my work, and we're partners. Okay. So I should have told her, like.
Let's talk about the field. So during the boom, you don't have your own fields. You're buying tobacco and you're getting it from Hochi and everything. But you realize that there's a scarcity on tobacco now. That if you can't control the tobacco, you may not be able to make cigars. Is this why you go, hey, we need to have farms?
There was a scarcity of tobacco in 1997 also, when we purchased the farm. And, but it wasn't only that, it wasn't that I wanted to, I spent a lot of time in farms, with farmers, with tobacco farmers, in Nicaragua, in Cuba, in Honduras. I spent a lot of time talking to them, walking the fields. And I understood that I could do whatever I wanted with those plants. And the plants will respond, and the tobacco will be the way I wanted it, according to how I grow it. And that was the main reason, because scarcity of tobacco can, it can go away in a few months, okay? It wasn't the whole point. It was just the fact that how much control over the quality or the way I wanted the tobacco to be for my cigars, all the control that I had to get those leaves. Okay, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Did you do anything differently? So when you did the factory, you did everything. Like you said, Carlitos did the factory, you're doing things differently. When you did the tobaccos, did you do things differently there too, or?
It was different than Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
Very different than Dominican. It was a little bit more aggressive in the way that I grow ligero. I will get rid of a lot of leaves from the plants. Stay with less leaves so they'll be stronger. A wider frame space between plants and plants in some areas for some of the tobacco. There is, like in Cuba or Nicaragua, wherever they're growing shade tobacco, everybody uses 30% shade cheesecloth. And, but then again, if you see the conditions in Vuelta Abajo and in Jalapa, they're more or less the same, so it makes sense. But then I am like in the desert of the Cibao Valley. It's a lot hotter, it's a lot more windy, there's a lot less humidity and rain, so 30% wouldn't do it for me. It had to be more than that. And I did various tests until I got to the right percentage of shade, which was customized for me. And nobody explained that to me. I had to figure it out myself.
You spend a lot of time in the fields.
Yeah.
I just saw a video that you guys were there and you actually took a leaf right off the plant and smoked it right there. That had to be a great moment for you because you're thinking of that inhale moment and you're like, you know this isn't going to be good.
It's a terrible idea.
And it was so bad. Like,
Oh, of course.
Terrible idea.
Whose idea was it for you to do that?
I give
He
up.
actually did that to himself, believe it or not.
Oh, he did to himself.
It was kind of like Jackass or something, you know? It was like, hi, I'm Litto Gomez, and this is Jackass.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
Now I'm a morning person.
You're a morning
I'm
person.
the night person.
Both.
Yeah, because I sleep like 5 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Though.
You know, because my dad didn't used to be a morning guy, you know? And it always used to be like, you know, I would show up to the factory at like 8 o'clock or so, and he would show up maybe like at 9:30. So I'd have like an hour and a half buffer to where, you know, I could
Nice
sit,
and
I
quiet,
have,
muy
have my
tranquilo,
breakfast,
yeah.
I have my coffee, maybe, you know, read my emails, read some news, whatever, before he would get there. But now it's like he starts waking up at 5 a.m. every day. And so, you know, I get to the factory at 8 and he's already there. You could hear, I open the door of the office, I could hear him yelling already. It's, you know, there's no peace anymore.
And it happened when, like, I don't know, 2 years ago?
2 years ago or so,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just shifted like that.
Just like that. I was just waking up.
I'm worried because I know as you get older, they say, like, a lot of people in the cigar industry are not morning people. I'm worried as I get older because I'm getting up earlier and earlier and earlier. So I'm up at about 4:30. Now, not by choice, that's what I'm up. But I'm worried when I get much older that I'm going to be up, what, at 1:30 in the morning and walking around, there's nobody there. I mean,
Yeah, you can hit the bars still, you know?
oh yeah, well, I've said it before, I'll be at like the industry conventions. I go to bed like at 10:30, 11. I wake up at 3, I go walk to the Circle Bar. Everybody then is just starting to go to bed, and I'm the one eating breakfast at 3:30 in the morning by myself, waiting for everybody else to get up. If you could go back 20 years, well, wait, hold on. Are you a morning person or a night
I've
person?
become a lot more of a morning person.
You're more
yeah,
of a morning
yeah.
person.
I feel like, you know, I get more stuff done in the morning when I get here in
So
the
now
morning.
you got to get here at 6:30, so you
Yeah,
get your hour
I
and a
gotta
half.
be him now. But yeah, my dad's always been like, he wants to stay till like 7, 8 at the factory, you know? He's always doing stuff later, you know?
Yeah, I usually leave the factory at 7:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, at night.
That's like, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
you-
here like 12, 13 hours or something.
If you could go back 20 years and give yourself some advice, and I know you don't give advice, but you will give it to yourself. If you can go back 20 years, what advice would you give yourself?
I wouldn't change a thing, man. I wouldn't change one thing, like one thing. Because there's no way you can do anything without making mistakes.
Yeah.
And what are the mistakes? Mistakes is nothing more than lessons. Okay? You fuck up and you get a lesson and it teaches you something. Okay? And I mean, we ruined a lot of tobacco here through the years, trying to experiment with. And our workers, and you know, they fuck up every now and then. And we lost, you know, 500 pounds of tobacco. Okay, but did we learn something? If we learned something, that price was fair. I mean,
Yeah.
it's justifiable. The problem is if you don't learn anything from it, then you're stupid, okay, and I have to get rid of you, okay, because you don't learn and you're gonna keep costing me money.
Right.
But mistakes is, you know, nothing, it just teaches you what not to do. And as you get to my age and you get wiser, you don't get wiser, you just know what not to do.
You've made more mistakes by the time you get
Yeah,
older.
because you fuck up so many times that, you know, you already know what not to do, and that makes you wiser, okay? Because every mistake
We're not going to let you write a parenting book on that. Just go fuck up a lot. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm gonna write the parenting book someday. I'll redact all names, but
Yeah, shit my father taught me.
exactly. That's the name of the book. I've already got it planned out.
there's no way you're going to go through life without getting in trouble just because you get a lot of advice. It's not going to happen. You're going to do what you're going to do. Doesn't matter who told you not to do it. You know, it works that way, but you know, important thing that what teaches you. You know, mistakes teach you. And you know, every mistake that I made along the way made me who I am today. Okay, so I wouldn't change a thing. Not every decision I made was right, but you know what? The wrong decisions also built me up to be who I am.
What's the saying? It's knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a vegetable, is a fruit and not a vegetable, but wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad.
That's right. That's right. I find the dynamics of, you know, when you have generational stuff, you know, the handoff and finding your own way, even though it's not 20 generations of tobacco growing and stuff, you know, you're obviously the new generation of this. So to follow somebody that's essentially already an icon, shouldn't be, somehow you were just too pig-headed enough and nobody, you know, you just did it anyway. How do you follow in that, but then also you have your own ideas to carve your own way there?
I understood very early on that my father is a totally unique creature and I'm never gonna be him, right? I mean, most people, you know, most guys my age or younger, you know, they struggle with, like, you know, their parents embarrass them, you know, their parents aren't cool. I got the opposite problem. I think it's like I'm never gonna be as cool as my dad. He's like the coolest guy on the planet, you know. I have the total opposite problem, you know. So I can't try to be my dad. That's you know, it's a goal that it's just not gonna happen, right? You know. So I'm myself. I'm the way that I am, and I'm, you know, comfortable with that. And our visions align. I totally buy into his vision for the company, and so there's never discrepancy there. And the cool thing, one of the things I really respect about my dad is that he's always been open to my ideas, right? Even though he never had to be, you know, he's Litto Gomez, he's the most innovative mind in the cigar industry, you know, he's got all the accolades you could think of, but he's always been open to my ideas, you know? Whether or not we ever ended up going with it is another story, but he'll always hear me out, he will always, you know, and he asks me for advice on things. You know, he wants to know my opinion on things. So I respect the shit out of him for that, you know? And so I just try to contribute, I think, as a person in my position, right? Because it's a privileged position, you know? Most people don't get an opportunity like this in life. And you have to understand that, right? You know, I'm in a special place, right? And I essentially had a job, like a good job for me that I did nothing to earn, you know? But if you're in that position, man, you have to contribute something, dude. And if you're not, then, you know, you suck, you know? You have to put something in, you have to make it better. And so that's always been in the back of my mind, is I don't ever want somebody to look at me and be like, you know, he got handed this, he was given that, and you know, so that's always been very important to me, you know?
Tony, I was never worried about because Tony has always been a certain way. Like, I remember one day I went to buy him clothes because he was using these really ugly T-shirts, like with skeletons and
He
shit.
still wears T-shirts.
And so I took him shopping and I bought him a lot of preppy stuff.
There's like Banana Republic.
And
Oh, I want those pictures.
you know, we were coming out of the place with all these bags, and you know, I look at Tony and he's crying. I said, Tony, why are you crying? I said, Dad, I don't like this shirt that you bought me.
I
remember that day.
I want to see pictures of
Remember
that.
that? And he had this way of being, okay? And he wouldn't bitch about it, okay? Like he was, you know, He goes, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. He said, yeah, but at the end, when he realized that it was all said and done, and he was going to have to wear that, he couldn't handle it. And he didn't bitch about it. He just started crying. I said, shit, it was the saddest day of my life. Uh, um, so that really told me about him, and that's the way he is. And I was never worried about it. He's got his own thing. He was working as a salesman, and he wouldn't tell anybody that I was his father. He was Tony Gomez, and people found out much later that we were related, and which is, I have a lot of respect for that.
I remember one of my favorite customers in Florida. We had a very good relationship. I would just walk into a store whenever. I didn't have to call him. I would just go make coffee. I would make myself at home there, and we had a great relationship. He was a great supporter of the brand, and I was a rep for like 3 years. And one day I walked in anyway, and he said, "Dude, what the fuck, Tony? You're Litto's son?" You didn't know that? Are you kidding me?
And with Litto, my other son, he's 21 now, is in college, and one day we had the big smoke in Miami, right? So, and he's there, he's working at the booth with us, and so I took a walk outside to the terrace where everybody was smoking, and he was walking behind me with a friend of him, and I was walking by people, cigar smoke consumers, and they would say to each other, "Yeah, that's Litto Gomez that's walking by," and somebody mentioned my name like 3 or 4 times in my walk, and Litto was behind me, and I hear him say to his friend, "I hate my father." and then when the next day or so, we got into conversation, and I said, listen, I heard what you said to your friend, and I know you say they're joking. But a lot of people know me. People that smoke cigars, they know my name. It doesn't make me a star, or it doesn't make me famous. Just a lot of people that smoke cigars, they know my name, and they say it, and I say, please don't ever think that whatever image I have in the cigar industry, you have to live up to that. If you're going to work with us, if you're going to be a part of the team, just be your own shit. Be your own thing, build your own personality, and let people know who you are and how we are. And, eventually you'll be you. You don't have to be me in any ways, okay? Just do your own thing. You don't have to do what I did, like, I sweat my ass in the fermenting room, fermenting tobacco, because I didn't have anybody that would do it for me. I couldn't pay people, so I was sweating my ass doing it. Do my children have to do it because I did it? Why? Okay, they don't have to do any of that. They have education, and and they have the responsibility, which I don't know what's more difficult, if building a business or maintaining and growing a business that is already functioning, okay, that is functioning well. Both things are very difficult. It's not that, this is a piece of cake, okay? It took me 27 years to learn what I know today, okay? My children come into the factory, and it's going to take them a lot to learn everything that's going on here, okay? It's very difficult, very complicated, it is not an easy thing to do, okay? And you know, I respect and I, you know, admire, you know, the guys that have done it, the generations, the latest generations of cigar companies that have done very well for their companies, and they continue the success from their fathers. And that's not an easy thing. That's a major accomplishment. That's, so that's the way I see it. So what makes you so passionate about the industry?
Me?
Yeah. Tell me about you. We're gonna interview this
Wow,
guy.
this just went the other way. I was not prepared
He's
for
getting
that.
a rise.
Who is
You know what? No, so for me, honestly, it's the people, it's the culture, it's that I can go into any cigar lounge in the world, and I feel like I have a home away from home. I can sit down, we go to cigar shops, we solve the world's problems, we go home, it all gets messed up again. We have to go back to the cigar shop and solve the world's problems again.
If only somebody would listen to us, man.
Yeah, you can have a guy that's a millionaire next to a guy that's unemployed, next to a woman that, you know, works part-time, whatever. And in that environment, we're all equal. We may not smoke the same cigars, but we have the same bond, the same like mentality. I have people I've smoked with for 10 years. I have no idea what they do for a living, and I don't care. You know, because we go, we sit down, and it's a common bond. I think if world leaders went to a cigar lounge, there'd be a lot less wars, a lot more peace. Just, you know,
Absolutely.
we're not drama. I don't like the reality shows. I don't want reality shows. Everybody wants to be very calm and enjoy it. And what I love about the culture are the people, the families, and things like that. That's what I love about it. You know.
All right, great. You know, there's a story. It's a funny story. I'm in Bethesda in a cigar lounge. I went to visit a customer. He wasn't there, so I sit down to wait for him, the owner of the place. And I'm sitting down in one of the chairs, and there's two guys in front of me. One is wearing a suit. The other guy, just a simple guy, a blue-collar worker, maybe. Two different walks of life, very clearly. So they're talking to each other, and they, talking about the football games in the last weekend, and then went into talk about movies, and then we're talking about music, and so, and I'm listening, checking my phone, and the guy in the suit at some point say, you know what? I'm really enjoying the conversation with you, and my name is so and so, and he shake the guy's hand, and the guy say, yes, Mr. So and so, I know who you are. I'm the guy that cut the grass in your house.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I lift my head, my face, and I look at them, and I started cracking up, like.
Wow.
And the guy they will never have a conversation, probably.
Yeah.
There's nothing that brings people together like this,
Yeah.
man. There's something special about it.
Yeah,
There's magic to
there's
it.
a freaking magic about people sitting down and enjoying a cigar, and they're open to conversation. It's so simple, and it happens everywhere. Cigar lounges are the best thing that the U.S. government got us, because they started prohibiting smoking everywhere, right? And the cigar lounge of back in the day, it was the counter, humidor, a cabinet with accessories. That's it. You come in, you buy your cigars, you pay, and you leave, okay? So prohibition starts happening. Now cigar lounges, cigar shops start making space for people to come and smoke. And you see them small, you see them very big, you see them very simple, you see them very sophisticated. At the end, people came to the lounge to smoke a cigar. But then they meet somebody there and they start talking. They like each other. Next, he comes back, he sees the guy again, they become friends. So now it's a hangout. It's a social place. They make more friends. Now you have a family of people that know each other, that see each other's face every day, okay? And it's a social place. And then it's network. You have the air conditioning guy and you have the insurance guy, and they're doing business with each other. So the cigar community got a lot stronger, got a lot bigger, okay? And I don't know, you see where, if there is a lot of places where people speak to each other in conversation, sitting down. I don't think there's many left, because you're in a bar, you're getting drunk, okay? The neighborhood barber, it's a chain now. It's so people don't talk to each other anymore, and
It created the culture, man. The cigar lounge created the culture.
And it's probably more important now than it's ever been.
yeah, yeah.
So you're both very creative, and I know you have a great working relationship. Tell me something you had to fight for, something creatively that just he was not on board, and you this is what I want to do. I think this is a good idea.
There's probably a few ones. I mean, dude, I presented some crazy ideas before, but Lennox is probably the biggest one. Because I don't like to show him things in progress, right? You show him something in progress, it's not quite ready yet, and I want to see something real, So I make sure it's done. I get the prototype, I get everything done, then I show it to him, And like Lennox was like.
He waits for a nice day. If he sees me that I'm in a good mood,
Exactly.
then he shows to me.
You gotta judge.
So this is a day that you beat Albert in tennis. That's a good day.
Very important thing.
That's who won
Very
in tennis
important
that day.
thing. You gotta read the mood in the room before you present him an idea, So it's like Lennox was like my baby, man. Like I was like in love with this project, and very important thing about Lennox was the color, blue. The blue is crucial to Lennox, right? And so, I finish it, I show it to him, and he's like, I like it, but you gotta change the blue. And dude, the blue is the thing. Like, blue is the point of this product.
It's the biggest thing that pops when you look at it.
Exactly, it's the blue. It has to be blue. Blue's not a cigar color. I don't like blue. And so we argued about it in depth, but
How did you convince him? Did he finally give up?
No.
He let me. He said, you know what?
And it wasn't, I didn't tell him you gotta get rid of the blue. And I say, I hate blue, right?
Yeah.
I hate blue in cigars. I don't like it. And he goes silent, and then, so you want me to change it? Say, no, you've already been working your ass in this thing for a long time, so, there's a reason why blue exists. A lot of people like blue, and I'm a fanatic of blue. I wear blue all the time.
Now, so
I wear blue all the time, and so I was not going to stop him. I told him. He thought I was going to stop him. I said, just do it.
it's your baby.
This is right at the beginning. I've got a little more trust now because, luckily Lennox did well, right?
Yeah.
If it tanked, then,
If it would have tanked, it would have been because it was blue.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't the cigar. It would have been the blue.
I told you it's a blue.
Now you're.
I remember this is a funny story. When I was a rep, at one point when I was a rep, like I kept hearing guys in shops say that, like candelas are taken off. You guys should do a candela. You guys should do a candela. So I was talking to my dad one day. I'm like, people keep saying that we should do a candela, and he's like, I hate candela. I don't like it. And so it kind of stopped there. But not too long after, we actually released the candela, right?
And you have one of the best candelas. I will say that.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And I remember reading the Cigar Aficionado article about it, and he said it was my idea.
Just in case. That's smart.
In case nobody
That's smart.
liked it.
See,
it was Tony's.
that's the wisdom from what you say, fucking up, and like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
I don't want my name related.
You gotta protect the brand. I get it. You can throw him on. He can make a lot of mistakes. It's okay. But you were very innovative. So with sizes and shapes like the chisel, the first patent on a shape. What gave you the idea for the chisel?
And I'm so happy because it's finally recognized as a shape.
Yeah.
And I was watching a program, a video on YouTube, and it was about cigars and cigar making. It's a series of videos called So Expensive. So they talk about different things and why they're so expensive and so at the end, they show a size chart, and the chisel was there with the name chisel.
Wow.
First time I see it, okay? And I bought 2 canvases the other day because there was, I saw it on Instagram. I think I saw it on Instagram. There was a chart with cigar shapes and the filler and the binder and the colors of the wrappers. A lot of information about a cigar, and they're very well done canvas. And at the bottom they had the shapes of cigars, like the pyramid, the perfecto and the parejo, and the chisel was there also. So it's finally
That has to be a pretty good moment. I mean, like Cigar of the Year. To take something historically with all these shapes and go, that's mine.
Yeah, and so important. I mean, so important. I know that's been a staple for our brand, and we have sold millions of chisels, and people love them. But to see it officially recognized as cigar shape. I have this thing that I think since I got old. And it's, I don't want to die the day I die. I want immortality. And somehow we can get real immortality. But somehow, if my name is going to be somewhere in history after I'm gone, my life has been a good life, okay? So that's why it's so important, yeah. I want my name to continue being mentioned, and that history will talk about me at some point for something. And that's what, really fills your soul, your life, and you think your life was not wasted, okay? So that's immortality is the thing, and I don't want to die the day I die. That's.
I'm going to be telling stories about you for a long time.
Yeah, we're all going to tell stories about you for a long time.
First time I say it, never heard me saying that. It's been in my mind for a few years now. Yeah. Chisel is just very simple innovation. It was an innovation, but it's very simple. It was not a gimmick.
Right.
It makes sense, and it smokes great, and it feels great, it can be a different cigar. The same cigar, you cut it in a different way, and it's a different smoke because it's going to give you a different experience. So I'm super glad that morning that I was driving to the factory and I was chewing on the cigar, and I pulled it out and I saw it and it was flat, and then I decided to make a cigar like that. It was simple.
Wow.
It's not like I put a lot of thought into it. It just happened. Yeah.
The coolest thing, like in my opinion, about La Flor is going back to the beginning where he didn't have a father in the industry or grandfather. This was his idea, right? He started from scratch. So just the fact that there wasn't a tradition to follow is what led to LFD being what it is, right? Because
Right.
I think LFD is, what I love about LFD is that we've never tried to imitate a classic brand. You know,
Right.
we've never tried to be the classics. LFD has always been its own thing. To be uniquely LFD, I think, is always been the mission. I think it's always been my father's goal, and I'm totally on board with that as well. I think that's the cool thing about La Flor is that we're unique, and the fact that we didn't have a tradition to follow means we made our own tradition, you know?
Yeah, no one told you that, hey, you always have to do it this way. You had to
Exactly.
discover it on your
Like,
own.
you know, if I put myself in a cigar smoker's shoes, and you know, if I was a cigar smoker, I would be drawn to LFD. Like, that'd be the brand. I would think that's a cool brand, you know? Like, I would like
Right.
that brand, you know?
Right.
And that's what I think is awesome about LFD. It's its own thing. It's never imitated anybody. On the contrary, I think LFD sets trends, you know?
Right. You're also very passionate about cooking. You love to cook.
Yeah.
Do you approach blending in the same way you cook or vice versa?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's you put in ingredients together, so when I'm cooking a dish, so I decide what's going to be the star in the dish. What I want you to feel when you eat it. Well, it is the shrimp. But if I put too much garlic is going to overpower the shrimp, and then you know, if I wanted garlic to be the star, okay, it's going to be a lot of garlic. But then you know you decide how ingredients behave with each other, and that's what you feel at that moment. And I don't make the same dish equally all the time.
You always wing it.
I change things around. And it's what I feel at that moment. And I don't do it for work, okay? I do it for my family or my friends. And it's like expressing myself through my dish. And there is a message. It's something that I want you to feel when you eat it. I'm not expecting a professional comment about it. I just wanted to say I like it or not. Like, you know, when they start eating and they put their head down and start eating, and they don't say shit. They say, you know what, guys? You know, I don't cook for money here. I cook for compliments. Okay, you know, I know you're liking it. Can you at least say, you know, I like it?
Dude, we eat like Michelin quality food for lunch here at the factory every day, to the point where sometimes it's like you eat lunch and then like, Dad, I hope you don't expect me to go back to work after.
Right.
Like I'm gonna go take a nap, you know. Because the one lesson, I'll give you one lesson I learned from my father, is that you can never put too much butter in a dish.
Never, but yes. I've had your food before, and yeah.
Finish those meals, man.
Is there a blend that just absolutely drove you nuts? That was just really difficult, and you kind of just kept having to put it away and come back to it?
Yeah, it was the 1994. Yeah, it was so difficult to blend that Mexican wrapper. I couldn't find a way. I mean, it took me forever.
That was the first time we ever used San Andres.
Yeah. I mean, it drove me crazy. It took me like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember it was our 25th anniversary was with that wrapper. And by the time I got it out, our 25th anniversary was almost over. Like. Oh
The 26th anniversity.
Yeah, that was so hard.
Nobody's ever done a 26, right? You hit them with the arbitrary numbers.
What do you have a favorite movie or book?
No, I don't. Well, yeah, a book, yeah, okay. I don't read books. Like I buy.
Audiobooks?
Yeah, I have this thing, and no doctor has been able to tell me why. But I start reading a page, and by half the page, I'm asleep.
Probably why you didn't finish high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a connection here.
I just fall asleep. I don't know what happened. So I audiobooks and book that fascinated me was the Da Vinci Code. Yeah, yeah. It's fascinating.
That's good.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have a favorite movie or book?
My favorite book is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. That's to me the most beautiful book.
It's a book
ever.
you'll reread. And
Yeah, the story just fascinated me, man. Honestly, great one. And favorite movie? It might be, I would say either Goodfellas or Fight Club.
those are both good ones. Those are good.
Fight Club's also a great book. Awesome book.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Good one.
And Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Those are very different.
A little bit.
Let me ask you about Pro Cigar. What does it mean to be, first of all, a member of Pro Cigar?
Pro Cigar is great. I get to hang out with my colleagues very often. It was so well planned, so well created. The mission, the standards, the ethics, everything that is in this organization, it's just great. And it's a great way to show Dominican Republic cigar industry.
Yeah.
Without feuds, without bad feelings from anybody to anybody. We all do it in a way that it comes out as a great message, very positive, because it's the way we all feel about it. Everybody feels energized and want this to be great.
There's no other cigar makers I know, like in other countries, where I'll go to dinner, and they may be in the same restaurant, but I'll go to dinner and you guys will all be, or we'll all be sitting at the same table. And in the shops, you're inches away from your competition. You obviously want them to buy your cigar over theirs, but at the end of the day, you all know you're this one unit, and you'll sit and you'll have each other company.
There's something very special about the Dominican cigar industry, man.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, we're all very close. We're all friends. We all love each other here, man. It's a beautiful thing we have going here.
What about the festival? To somebody that's never been to the Pro Cigar Festival, what would you say to them?
Dude, it's the best party in Dominican Republic. If you love cigars, dude, there's absolutely nothing like it. You're gonna learn more than you can possibly remember, and you're gonna have the time of your life, dude. It's the funnest week in Santiago by far. Everything's so well run. They're well done. Dude,
Do you have a favorite part of the week? Do you have a favorite part of the week?
Probably the white party, man. The legendary white party, and
It's at the Monument. It's the only
honestly,
event
man,
allowed at the Monument.
The cool part is, you have all these groups. You have 40, 50, 70 people that come on your tour, and then you see them later on at the dinner, and they come up to you, and they're just still so pumped about it, And they're just, oh, this is amazing, and this and that. Oh, thank you, and they love it. And there's people that, and you're one of them. People have been a Pro Cigar for like 12 years in a row.
Yeah.
They come every year, and they go on the same tours, see the same thing. They just want to keep coming back. They love it,
It's something magical. What about you? Do you have a favorite part of the week?
It's next week on Tuesday, on Wednesday morning, I'm so wired. Because it starts very early in the morning, and I'm a very shy person. I panic when I have to talk in front of people. I can't fix that. It's just like it's very hard for me to break in. Once I start, I can't stop. I just feel great when I start, but the leading to it, it's just, and I never wrote anything that I would say. Nobody knows. They ask me in Pro Cigar, to send in my speech or what I'm going to say. You say,
No
what?
idea.
But I don't do speeches. I talk to people. And I say what I feel to say in that moment. And it normally comes in my head when I start speaking. Before that, I'm just miserable, okay? So, you know, we do the tour, and I gotta make sure that everything there's, you know, no fuck ups, okay? And then, you know, I come here, and then I get into the cooking area, and I start, you know, the fire is too low. You gotta put more fire. You know, the sausages are burning.
He puts on a show.
That's too slow.
Yeah.
And I get into that, and I know people are relaxing. They're smoking cigars and they're having a drink, and then I just let everything happen. And then I have to show them around the factory, and which I don't focus a lot in trying to teach people about cigars, because most of the people that come here have already been to factories, and you know, I just wanted to show them, you know, our facilities, and let them relax and have a good time. That's what I'm more worried about.
You got to transfer a feeling to them, right? Because you can only give them so much information.
Yeah, you can't make this boring, or like I'm going to give you a class about cigars. Come on. People that come to Pro Cigar don't need that. They just want to relax, because there's a lot of activities in the day. And and then you get to the night, and then if I have to get on stage and say something, I'm already wired again, and I'm miserable. And then after I say something, then, you know, I start having fun, and then I dance and I do whatever, become part of the fun. And I get to see a lot of people, which I love, like a lot of people, distributors and consumers and colleagues and retailers, and, you know, I see people and suppliers, and then you talk to them, and, you know, it's a place where, you know, you get to see everybody and just have fun. But I enjoy showing what we have built. Mm-hmm. I take a lot of pride in what we have built here, and I like showing that to them. A lot of people have seen it, a lot of people see it for the first time, and it's just always good to show them what we built and who we are. No, that's very special. It's a unique opportunity to do it, and show them. You know, we have an infrastructure. We're a small company. We're a small house, mm-hmm. but our infrastructure is huge. Mm-hmm. It is huge, and I can't build something if it's not on a very, very solid base. I won't even attempt to build it, mm-hmm. Because it would be like showing something fake. When I show something, it has to be the real thing. It has to be authentic. It cannot be a make-believe. And we're happy that we have something to show, mm-hmm. And I show it very happily. Okay. And then, you know, the celebrations, everything is good about that week. Everything is, it's a lot of hours. Like, you know, we start very early and go to bed very late. Yeah. And do it again. So by the time Saturday comes, it's like.
Dude, that Saturday I sleep till like 3 p.m., bro. When you get home after the gala on Fridays, you collapse, man.
Well, it's a very special factory. I'm glad we were able to do this here. It's been great knowing you guys over the years, and I appreciate that we've been able to share this conversation with everybody else, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much for doing it in Dominican Republic, okay, which is very important to us, for letting us be a part of it, okay. So thank you very much, man. And, you know,
thanks,
good man, bro.
This industry is full of good people. You're one of them.